And now I give the floor to the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic, please.
شكرا.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your presidency of the Security Council for the current month. Our delegation has reviewed the concept paper that you have distributed in preparation for this session, and we hold you for the initiative to convene it. As usual, and as we've witnessed in many previous sessions, some member states in this council have intentionally derailed the debate from its objective, i.e. the diagnosis and treatment of the root causes of the challenges that confront the achievement of peace and security in the Middle East. In other words, they aim to obstruct the identification of the causes of these challenges, i.e. occupation and aggression and destructive external intervention in the affairs of the countries of the region in different forms, including those that aim to forcibly overthrow systems of government and invest in terrorism instead of investing in peace, as my friend from Indonesia has said rightly. These causes include the fabrication of crises and prolonging these crises and dragging the entire country into the entire region into bloody wars that waste their wealth and undermine the prosperity and security of their people. The Middle East, from the beginning of the 20th century until today, has witnessed terrible tragedies because of the colonial states' preference of their own narrow interests and their desires over the principles of peace and justice and law. Therefore, the successful treatment of these challenges requires upholding international law and the Charter, which is the common denominator. These countries must stop their attempts to distort the Charter and to manipulate its provisions. And the challenges that the Middle East is facing occupy a large portion of the Security Council's agenda ever since the United Nations was founded. These challenges are regional, however, they're preoccupying the minds of everyone in the world. Therefore, treating them seriously and according to the law is not simply a regional interest, rather it is in the interest of the entire world. And here I would like to stress the following. Number one. Any objective look at the reason for tension in the Middle East must emanate from a concession that the main reason for this conflict and the main reason that there is no peace and stability has and always will be the Israeli occupation of Arab territory, including the occupied Syrian Golan. This is not due to any factors that are racial or religious or sectarian. These are fabricated reasons that are being peddled by some in order to fragment the countries of the region and redraw their borders and to weaken the resilience of our peoples in the face of Israeli bullying. The absence of the necessary mechanisms to enforce the implementation of your own Council's resolutions on the Arab-Israeli conflict, this absence has led to the continuation of the occupation and has enabled the occupation to continue its crimes against our people in the occupied Arab territories. It has encouraged the U.S. administration to attempt to evade its obligations in accordance with the resolutions of your Council, and this is manifest in the U.S. President's recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and what he called Israeli sovereignty on the occupied Syrian Golan, and the attempt to pass off a suspicious deal that is tantamount to the crime of the century. Moreover, this has encouraged the Special Coordinator for the Middle East, Nikolai Mladenov, to not perform his mandated duties, as we have repeatedly pointed out. Anyone who questions the existence of an organic link between what is happening in our region, on the one hand, and between the quest to entrench and prolong the Israeli occupation of Arab territories and the Syrian Golan is delusional or misinformed or naive. Number two. The United Nations was founded on the principles of the sovereign equality of states and non-intervention in the internal affairs of states. Moreover, it was founded on the principle of the non-use of force or the threat of the use of force. Respecting these high principles requires, among other things, binding the United States and its allies, including the Turkish occupation forces, binding them to ending their illegal military presence on my countries' territories and obliging them to stop their pro-terrorism aggression and their crimes against Syrians and civilian installations and infrastructure. You have witnessed how Erdogan's regime has brought in mercenaries and terrorists who are Uzbeks, Tajiks, Caucasians, Uyghurs, and Turks and other Arabs and Europeans across the Turkish borders with Syria into Idlib to support the terrorist Jabhat al-Nusra organization and other terrorist organizations that are allied to it. It has also brought in machinery laden with weapons and ammunition to support these terrorists. Moreover, some have colluded to the point of calling these foreign terrorists with the label of the moderate armed Syrian opposition. Number 3, we call for the immediate and unconditional lifting of the coercive unilateral measures that the United Nations have consistently declared illegitimate and which have a devastating impact on the peoples of the region and their ability to achieve development, and has prompted the citizens of these countries to leave their homelands as refugees and as immigrants. And these coercive measures are a form of economic terrorism that comes to continue the terrorism of terrorist organizations. It is an expression of the hypocrisy of starving people and depriving them of their basic necessities of life while proclaiming concern for the welfare of the Syrian people and concern for the achievement of the 2030 development agenda so that nobody is left behind. Number 4, we must deal firmly with the threat posed by Israel's arsenal of weapons of mass destruction, and we must bind Israel to join the NPT as a non-nuclear state and to place all of its activities and installations under the IAEA safeguard system in accordance with Security Council Resolution 487 of the year 1981. Here, we would like to renew our call for adopting the Syrian initiative that aims to establish a zone free of all weapons of mass destruction with nuclear weapons at the forefront in the Middle East. The draft resolution for this initiative, which was submitted by my state during its membership in the Security Council in 2003, this draft resolution continues to be a prisoner in the filing cabinets of this council. As for the situation in the Gulf area, we would like to condemn the policies to fabricate crises and ignite new wars in the region with the aim of distracting the peoples of these regions from their main cause, which is putting an end to the Israeli occupation and confronting attempts to impose hegemony and to plunder the wealth of this region. If we fail to prevent this, we would witness new wars where the people of our region are the main victims. And the repercussions will not be limited to the Middle East, but will spread outwards. In closing, the time has come for the peoples of our region to live as others in the world, in prosperity and in safety and stability, and to reclaim their role in enriching human civilization whose cradle was in the Middle East, and to establish the values of peace and coexistence between peoples and civilizations and cultures. And this requires your Council to adopt a serious and effective approach to deal with the reasons of this instability that I have just mentioned, away from a policy of selectivity and double standards, which has been the main feature of the Security Council's dealing with issues of our region, which is mistakenly named the Middle East. I thank you.
Thank the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic for his statement.